In 1945, on Christmas night, a strange incident occurred in West Virginia, America, which still makes the soul tremble to remember. George Sodder was celebrating Christmas with his wife Jenny Sodder and 10 beautiful children. Every face was aglow with joy. But who knew this night turned out to be a bad dream, a nightmare which is an unsolvable mystery till date. This is how the incident took place. It was around 1 o'clock, at which point fire suddenly started in the house. George and Jenny ran outside with their 4 children, but the 5 children sleeping in a room upstairs vanished for good. Neither were their bones ever found, nor any other trace. But were they actually burned in the fire, or abducted? Was this blaze an accident, or a crime? It was special planning that it was. The audience will again have fun in the videos. Not just a story, but a mystery that is still shocking the planet. We will try to understand each and every bit of this unsolved mystery. The son of an Italian immigrant, George Sodder was a laborious man who was like-minded to the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. This is the reason why he had to leave Italy and create a life for himself in America. Speaking openly, dictator could have turned into a problem for him, but he never showed any fear. He was running a trucking business, luckily, in America. He had his own house. His wife, Jenny Sodder, was a devoted stay-at-home mom who raised her children, but with love and discipline. On the 24th of December 1945, Christmas Day, Sodder's children were playing with their new toys. It was nighttime, though, and the 5 children in the upstairs room got tired and went to sleep in their beds. At about 1 in the morning, Janie smelled smoke in the house. When she went to see what was wrong, she discovered that her kitchen had somehow caught fire. George and Janie emerged with their 4 kids, but the 5 kids sleeping in the upstairs room were left behind. George did everything he could to save them. As George Sodder ran to the window on the 2nd floor, he realized his ladder wasn't where it was supposed to be. Then he thought he could use his coal truck to get to the window, but when he turned on the ignition, the truck didn't work, and neither did the other truck. The people who were present there attempted to inform the fire department that was available there, but no one answered. Then, even when the fire chief was contacted, the fire brigade could not reach. Police arrived at the scene a few hours after the accident. Everyone assumed the logic that a fire broke out in the house because of some reason in which 5 children burned and died. But this case was as complicated as it seemed normal to look at and listen. The very next day morning when investigation began, the officials also issued similar statements and closed the case. The children were burnt to death in the fire, but this was beyond the understanding of anyone, because the bones of the human body cannot be ash, even at 800 degrees Celsius, and those parts of the bones in which there is calcium include human teeth, which even inside the furnace, not ash. Then, how is it possible to the fire in Sodder's house that would know 1, 2, but 5 children's bones were never found, nor any teeth later? It was also determined through forensic examination that the fire had not burned at such extended conditions, that the bone would be reduced to ash. This was extremely shocking, and is why the Sodder family immediately rejected the report of investigation, as it was too much for them to bear. The team investigating clarified that the fire started due to short circuit of the electrical stuff in kitchen, but George Sodder revealed that he had got the wiring redone just few days before the incident, and there was no possibility of any fault in it. Undoubtedly, in trying to remember those moments of the accident, George Sodder remembered events that already flagged without raising a red flag. At the time of the fire, when he dialed to call the fire brigade, the wire was cut, and it was also proved in the investigation that the phone line of Sodder's house was indeed cut from someone from outside, because the phone line, when breaking or cutting, its edges are jagged, but when cut with pliers or cutter machine, it looks very smooth at the edges. Jenny Sodder recalled later that at precisely 12:30 the phone in the house rang, and on the other end was a woman laughing in a loud voice, and Jenny told her that it was a wrong number and hung up. BG said that if the phone line was cut at 1 o'clock, and only half an hour before that, a strange call had come on it, it meant that the phone line was cut half an hour before the fire. It was a night of strange occurrences. A few minutes before that first phone call, and before the fire, Jenny also heard something fall on the roof. When she didn't hear anything more, Jenny rolled over and went to sleep. and a few minutes later she smelled smoke. There, he should have placed in at the time of accident, the ladder which George used to put. George's both trucks were lost and found out of his home in a field. They were working fine until the previous day. How did they fail during the fire? All this made George Sodder doubt and eventually believe that his children were not dead but were kidnapped. But how did this person get away with there, in the midst of such a strawmash, when the investigation began? What happened in this incident is a few months ago, an insurance agent came to George Sodder, who was forcing him to take home insurance. Yao opened an insurance policy for Sodder for $2,000, but when Sodder refused to take the insurance policy, the agent left, threatening Sodder that he will know this when his house catches fire. Could someone have started the fire to distract people, then abduct the children at the same moment? The second theory postulates that George Sodder's outspoken views on Italian dictator Mussolini did not sit well with the Italian mafia, hence why the Italian mafia wanted him dead and took control of his children. Others claim to have spotted Sodder's children in disparate locations after the fire. One woman said she saw the kids in a hotel stuffing unexplainable. Different accounts have described the couple being whisked away in a car. So many opinions, so many mouths to feed. The soldiers' children did die in the fire, it has been confirmed. Otherwise, where did they go? It has been more than a year since the accident. However, details have emerged recently. The investigation committee, which had earlier claimed short circuit as the cause of fire, has now been proved wrong. The latest investigation has discovered that a fire was started. There was a bus driver passing around this time. He saw some people throw something that resembled a fireball. Several months later, as the snow melted, a round rubber object was also discovered near the house, referred to as a pineapple bomb. Jenny recalled a sound she had heard shortly before the fire erupted, which was caused by something hitting the roof. Or perhaps it was this pineapple bomb. George and Jenny dedicated their lives to solving this mystery. They explored every single avenue and followed every lead. They also created a large billboard with images of the missing children and offered a reward. 20 years later, in 1960, Jenny gets a letter. This letter had a photo of a man who bore an uncanny resemblance to her son Louis. The letter said, "Only Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie." Did one of the 5 missing children really write this letter? Or was it a prank? George and Jenny hired a private investigator to investigate the letter, but there was no sign of Louis Sodder. Time went by years and years, but this mystery remained unsolved. George Sodder died in 1969. Jenny and those children who survived continued to seek explanations for their missing brothers and sisters. After George died, Jenny did not move away from the family home. She fenced the house and added new rooms. She wore black clothing for the rest of her life in mourning. It was only after Jenny's death in 1989 that the family was able to take down the old billboard that had been put up for the missing children. Were these kids victims of a tragedy or part of some gigantic conspiracy? That is a mystery we may never solve. I hope that you will like and share this video a damn lot. Thank you all so much for the loving comments of the people. Subscribe until the next amazing video.